To God be the glory. I am feeling so much better today. A little bit of pneumonia in my chest, but I'm still taking my meds. A friend of mine had texted me. She texted me early this morning, and she said, I'm just so tired of being single. And you know what? Being single is not a bad thing. You know, being in a relationship all the time, being married all the time, being with someone, that man or that woman, is not always a flex. It's not always a flex. You know, sometimes being in a relationship, I mean, you can miss your calling from God. Like, you can miss your assignment from God because you're focused on, you know, your relationship. You focus on that person. So sometimes being single and, you know, listening to your assignment from God is not always a bad thing. You have more time to focus on yourself when you're single. If you're a single mother, you have time to focus on yourself and your kids, or a single father, have time to focus on yourself and your kids. I could definitely say, you know, if you're single, you can be at work. You don't have to worry about texting someone. You don't have to worry about returning a phone call fast enough, or whatever the case may be. You don't have to worry about, you know, when you get off, what you're going to cook for dinner for, you know, the person you're with. Or it might sound selfish, but if you decide that you want to get off of work and just sleep for the rest of the day until it's time for work the next day, then that's your business, you know. Definitely, you know, heal first before you decide to get into another relationship. I would definitely say, you know, sometimes, you know, we as people, we be like, you know, how come I'm still single? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. Being single is okay. You'll have time to, you know, reevaluate yourself and, you know, like I said, definitely heal. You know, sometimes people think that being in a relationship is, you know, like a validation, because you need validation. That just shows who you are. That does not show who you are, being in a relationship. You know, you do not need that man or that woman to complete you. You know, you have to make yourself happy. Being in a relationship, that guy not gonna make you happy. That woman not gonna make you happy. You know, the honeymoon phase is always nice, because it's never a dull moment. It's not boring. You know, you're still trying to figure that person out. It's still fun, exciting, and interesting. But, you know, you be with that same person for a few years, and, you know, you might realize that you're not happy anymore. You're not happy anymore because you wasn't happy with yourself when you jumped into the relationship. So, you know, don't depend on that man or woman to make you happy. You have to definitely, you know, sit back and think about what it is that you need, what it is to make yourself happy. And then once you're happy, and then, you know, once you're fulfilled inside, you know, completely, and definitely God, definitely put God in the center of your heart no matter what you do, because God is that fulfillment. You know, it's not that man or that woman. God is your fulfillment.